Towards 2050, the world population is expected to increase by 2.4 billion people. With this increasing growth and wealth of the world population, the demand for food, and especially animal products, will be rising. To keep up with this increasing demand, there must be looked at sustainable alternatives. An example of an animal product with an increasing demand is sushi. For sushi, salmon is substantial. Salmon is produced in aqua farms, especially in Norway. Let's have a look at the current situation of feeding salmon. Conventional feed used to be fish meal. Fish meal are parts of a fish that are not consumed by humans, like fish heads and bycatch. But since fish meal was not sustainable and could not meet the pressure of the increasing demand, it was partially replaced by Euphausia superba, also known as Antarctic krill. This krill has a high protein content. However, what makes krill desirable as component in salmon feed is the fat. Fat in krill is rich in unsaturated fatty acids, especially omega-3. These are good for the heart, brain and overall human health. Integrating krill into the diet will cause the salmon to contain the same healthy fats. Yet, krill is harvested in Antarctica and transported all the way to Norway to be used in salmon feed. Shipping products halfway around the world and influencing the ecosystem is not a sustainable solution. Besides that, the population of this small crustacean has decreased by 80%. Therefore, viable alternatives have to be found. So, are there sustainable alternative sources for krill to keep up with the increasing demand for salmon, without it being a burden to the environment? The use of edible insects might be one of these alternatives. The variety of species and of life stages offer many different possibilities. 7 insects with high potential will be evaluated. Migratory locust, black soldier fly larvae, yellow mealworm, housefly pupae and housefly maggot, and finally the silkworm pupae are compared to see if they are viable alternatives for krill in salmon feed. First, we look at protein. Protein is needed for growth of the fish. Not enough protein leads to a smaller yield, which is not desired. Many species of edible insects provide sufficient protein. This protein content is to be similar or preferably higher compared to krill. The silkworm pupae, and especially the housefly pupae, resemble the krill in protein content, but the other insects have a high protein content as well. Next, amino acids. A good amino acid profile is important for the survival of the fish, since the salmon cannot make some amino acids itself. These are called essential amino acids. The yellow mealworm and the silkworm pupae are the best insects when looking at the amino acids compared to krill meal. When comparing insects to krill in terms of fat content, insects seem a good alternative. They contain just as much or even more fat for the salmon to grow on. Krill contains a high amount of omega-3. The only insect that shows some promising values in respect to omega-3 content is the black soldier fly. However, these concentrations are very low compared to krill. Adding other sources of omega-3 to the salmon feed can compensate for this problem. For example, omega-3 from rapeseed. Many species of edible insects provide sufficient protein, meet amino acid requirements for salmon, are high in mono and polyunsaturated fatty acid, and rich in several minerals and vitamins. The pupae of the housefly would be the most promising sustainable alternative since its nutritional content is even better compared to krill. However, in omega-3 content, all insects prove to be inferior to krill. The manipulation of lipids in the insect diet hardly improves the fatty acid profile, and is therefore quite inefficient. The best way is to add omega-3 fats to the pellet at the end. Thanks for watching.